Welcome to 3 Hours Early, the show where we'll be talking about the upcoming Destiny 2, as well as the current state of video game reviews and how some companies like Bethesda are tackling it. And I'm sure a little bit of banter and a lot more topics. I'm one of your co-hosts, Ash, and joining me today, as usual, is Adam.
Hello.
And Matt.
Hey.
So how's everyone doing this week?
Good.
Fantastic.
Yeah?
We just watched the Destiny 2 press conference.
How did you feel about that?
I didn't get to watch the whole thing. I didn't want to watch the whole thing. I don't enjoy watching campaign spoilers. So even though it's the very first mission, I had no interest in watching that at all. I felt they ruined that for Destiny 1. Just because that's when you first turn on that game, you get your lights are lowered. And you get your friends all queued up and everybody's going into this game together. And I cut that part out of my life.
Right.
Just went on to like the technicals and stuff.
Okay. And I mean, to be fair, Destiny 1 didn't have much of a story. I mean, the first one, the expansions did a much better job of it, but...
So here's the thing. We all played Destiny 1.
Yeah.
Up until we got bored of it. There wasn't the content, the expansions weren't out. We didn't really get into the rating, which is a huge part of the end game.
Yeah.
We probably should have went back and actually gave it a good go with the expansions. But I wasn't going to throw all that money at those expansions from the lack of content that was in the first game.
They were treating the first game, I felt, at that point as a beta, and I had already seen, and I was going to leave it up to the rest of the community to tell them what they need to do, because I sold out.
Yeah.
I did not buy it anymore.
And how do you feel after the press conference? Did you see some of it?
I did. I watched about an hour, I'd say, skipping through it.
And do you feel as though they solved some of those beta-esque problems?
I do. I think this does, to me, feel like a Destiny 1.5 scenario. I think this is what the first game should have been.
If they run in with all the content that they had at the end of Destiny 1, and they run in with that, and then they can expand from there if they want to, but they need to have a good, solid story and some good game modes.
Yeah.
And I want to play more Crucible.
Yeah.
Speaking of Crucible, I would love to play, like I for this reason alone, the 4v4 team battles. Mm-hmm. That is something that I would like to play with you guys.
Yeah.
I would like to join in that.
So I don't know why they dropped down to 4v4.
I think part of their biggest push is...
Or is that just the minimum?
No, I think it's just all Crucibles 4v4 now.
Yeah.
And now one thing you guys didn't play was Trials of Osiris, which is their more competitive style.
Yes.
Right.
And that was 3v3.
3v3, yeah.
3v3.
So that I would love to play with you guys.
Okay.
The 3v3, you want to go back into Destiny and play the Trials?
We are light years away from being able to play 3v3.
What is their light level even at?
29, I think, is when we quit. And I think they're at 40 now.
We were at max of 40.
Yeah, we were max.
No, they moved. They moved up the max.
Yeah.
The max is now 40. We were at like 29 or whatever it may be.
I thought their light level max was like 400.
Oh,
no. I'm
way
pretty
off.
sure my character's like 33.
And in fact, you could see from the gameplay trailers in Destiny 2, they revert back to light level 20.
Yeah.
Is actually the max at the moment.
Oh,
in Destiny 2.
No idea.
They have expansions coming too.
Yeah.
Already in the works, which I hate.
I know.
How can you
Buy
release...
the deluxe?
Yeah. Buy the season pass because we already have the content made. We're just going to sell it later.
So I don't mind so much that they have these expansions if Destiny 2 itself didn't feel like an expansion. So, I was thinking about this the other day. I looked at the graphics.
As a base game.
Yeah.
As not an expansion. Like if it was just like a skeleton and the expansions are the meat.
No, I guess my concern is that Destiny 2 itself isn't enough of a skeleton. It doesn't have enough meat itself to warrant expansions on its own. It almost feels like it's an expansion, like Matt was saying, Destiny 1.5.
Right.
Because really, I look at the game and so the first thing that caught my eye was the graphics. And sure, there's a little bit more fidelity. They accept 4K. 30 frames per second on PS4 Pro, by the way. We'll get to that in a little bit. But one thing I noticed was that the graphics didn't actually seem like that much of a leap from Destiny 1. Like I look at a game like Uncharted, and if you look at the graphical difference between Uncharted 1 and Uncharted 2, there was quite a reasonable leap in, even though it's the same console. It was in the middle of the life cycle, similar to how we are with PS4 now. And there was this leap that really told me, okay, this is the second game. It's a quality upgrade. When I look at Destiny 2, I see the graphics look relatively similar. And I see the storyline is a continuation. And while we are, quote unquote, starting from scratch, so everyone's starting with a brand new Guardian.
Yeah.
All your old weapons don't matter. Nothing matters from the past. While you are starting from scratch, it doesn't feel like a brand new game. It really feels like the next level. It almost like Matt was saying, you take the topics they're adding in clans. They're upgrading PvP to be a little bit more fluid with 4v4. They are touching on a better storyline, and they've admitted that their Destiny 1 storyline wasn't so great, and this time it's going to be more fleshed out. And they're adding these kind of a way for a small group of people like us to be able to find individuals who want to join into our team, kind of like a looking for group mode in guided games is what they were calling it.
Yeah.
All of these things are features that just should have been in the first one, and leads me to feel as though this is really just an expansion rather than a new game.
I would like to touch on that in-game clan system.
What's that?
Finally, an in-game game. But I am really hoping that their in-game clan system is as fine-tuned as the best in-game clan system that we've ever played with. Yeah. Killzone 2.
Oh my gosh.
Killzone 2's clan system was so good. You had scheduled tournaments, scheduled clan battles, all in-game. Like you do everything in-game. And it just felt so right. There's a leaderboard. The
just
PvP was there. Yeah, it was great. And I'm still waiting for an in-game clan system that is the same as that quality. So I'm hopeful, if Destiny 2 has that, I'm going to be in there for a while, just so I can get my clan to the top.
That's fair.
We had a lot of fun with that with Killzone 2. And I think the best part of it was true recognition of the clan. So like you said, it's a leaderboard for the clans.
Yep.
And you had these points that you could bet on matches. So you could actually create a tournament and wager these points.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
and so everyone who plays in the tournament has to wager these points, and you could win, essentially the big pot of points. And that's how you move up the ladder.
Yeah. Oh man, it was so good.
It was so engaging.
I'm so sad that you didn't get in on it with us.
No, I got in too late. Mm-hmm. And when I joined, the clan system had changed.
They had neutered it in Killzone 3
they did.
and on.
And unfortunately, Killzone 2 was riddled with not dedicated servers and just instability, which, from my understanding, Destiny 2 doesn't have dedicated servers either.
You've got Battle.net peer-to-peer servers. I'm kind of happy.
PC.
What servers are they using for PlayStation 4? Are they just using Sony's servers? Is that how that works?
I think so.
I'm actually not sure.
And I guess the Xbox, whatever they have, Xbox Live servers.
Yeah. Well, Xbox Live, yeah. So I assume they're doing the same thing with Sony.
Is Destiny 2 on PC?
Yes.
So that was announced. Destiny 2 for PC. Good. And that's how you get to play in what seems to be potentially 60 frames per second, 4K, if you have a behemoth of a PC.
Uncapped frame rate.
Okay.
I honestly don't care about the frame rate. Every console game I've ever played has just been at 30 frames per second.
Yeah.
I'm okay with 30 frames per second on a big TV. Oh, sorry. And I love the feel of the controller. There's nostalgia with it. I've got my technique down. I love having a controller. So I know the higher level gameplay is going to be on the PC, but to me, that's not where the gaming is for me.
Yeah. Also, Destiny before was just a console shooter. So I think, I feel like the community that is into Destiny, they're not really going to be PC group. I might be wrong.
But so many people are just into those frames per second. It's just a techno.
Yeah. Well, the frames per second on a first-person shooter, I understand the rationale, the smoothness and everything, and that's why people love it so much. But if you're playing on a console where you already know you're more limited than the mouse and keyboard, you're not already able to play at the technical pinnacle.
It's
right?
just to look good,
So
though.
the 60 frames per second,
I don't think that ups your gameplay. It's just for looks.
Honestly, I like 30 frames per second.
Call of Duty players would disagree.
Okay.
In their mind, the 60 frames per second allows them to really have the twitch reactions to get the headshots and things like that. They feel as though it's critical.
Okay. I don't know. I just know from way back where I'm sitting on my TV, I don't notice 30 to 60 frames. Even the TV extrapolates up to 60 or up to 120 now, 240, whatever it is nowadays.
Oh, I think our TVs are doing 120 now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're going to see it.
Yeah.
No, but so overall, okay, clan system. I'm excited for that.
Yep.
And I remember when when Destiny 1 started, we all played. We did the midnight launch.
Yes.
We took a nap. I took a nap the night before so that I could just stay up all morning. That was an amazing experience, especially because Bungie didn't have servers that failed. I was so impressed about the stability of the servers. And so we're playing this game and we each do our individual mission in the beginning and we meet up at the tower and we say hi to each other. And then I look through the menus over and over again to build a clan. And I'm like, wait, is there no clan? It blew my mind, actually, that it wasn't there.
Yeah, you had to build your clan through apps. They had these external apps on like your phone and on their forums. It's just
that trend is dead now, right?
Yeah,
we don't have to. Nobody's doing app mobile.
Battlefield 1?
Battlefield 1 had those extra features.
Yeah, you know what? I don't think anybody used it.
And those features were only available on the app. Like you couldn't even go online and like build your emblem or whatever.
People need to get away
Genuinely through the app. Yeah.
from tablet play.
And someone like me with a BlackBerry wasn't too thrilled about that.
Your elite passport.
So the other thing that Destiny was lacking was, quite frankly, a good storyline.
Yeah.
Now, we stepped away from the expansions, but the expansions really, the Taken King, from my understanding, really brought in a fantastic storyline that people were impressed with. So finally, Bungie got to their roots. So Destiny 2, we got a little insight on the story. Yeah. Adam, you seemed a little unhappy that you saw it.
No, I don't want to know anything about it. I don't know anything about it.
Oh, you don't?
No, I don't know anything about the story except for, Atlantis has fallen, basically.
That's effectively what we know.
So I'm okay with that, just knowing that, and I'll wait for the game. I am going to get the game. The game looks great.
Yes. I'm very excited for it. PlayStation 4 all over again, I think.
Yeah, I have hopes for it. I think it's probably time to get the PlayStation Pro.
You're going to.
I'm probably going to get it.
You can't play it in 60 frames. What's the point?
Well, you get the 4K, man. Get all that power, all that juice.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't know. I'm going to play it on my computer monitor anyway. So
you're going to play it on... Oh, I see.
I have my little gaming den.
That's a terrible setup.
I'm sorry. But at least I'll have a nice mic now to be able to stream some games.
There you go.
So clan system and guided games. And that's a big deal.
Yes.
So
being able to make games without having to go onto your external apps and find players.
Effectively an integrated looking for group system.
Yeah.
Now this is mostly affected end game content like raids and stuff, because you could always just join people in normal games. It wasn't a big deal, but Destiny's all about the end game, all about doing those raids. Those raids are supposed to be the best first-person shooter style raids ever.
Yeah.
And I know guys who still play it today. They're still going once a day or once a week. They're going in to get the newest gear with its smallest trinkets, just because just to do those raids.
Yeah.
And you see all the requests going on. There's always like, no noobs. You need this gun. You need this. You need that.
Yeah.
And it's just so.
And it's separate, right? You're not integrated into the game.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the big things here is now it's integrated. There was a statistic that Bungie brought out that only 50% of people actually completed or participated in end game content.
Yeah.
And that's because of a lack of a looking for groups. So take us, for example.
Yeah.
We were quite dedicated Destiny players, but we only had the three of us, and
Right.
we were quite complacent, I suppose, and didn't do the external stuff.
We tried.
Well,
but
yeah, no, we tried, but you need a fire team of 6, right, to do a raid.
So we had to find those three others.
Yeah.
And we couldn't because it wasn't so integrated. It was so challenging with the external. So we lost out on that.
Yeah.
And it's not just as easy as, oh, let's find 6 people, because now you need to find people with the time invested to get 30 light level.
Yeah. We were just.
And we had a few other guys, but they weren't up there.
We were killing it on Crucible, waiting for people to catch up to our light level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then we lost interest before we could even
Yeah.
get to it.
We did try a couple, and then I think we did try the expansion ones. But by that time, everybody already knew everything, so I'm just being told what to do. There's no sense of exploration for me because I lost interest.
That's not going to change for the guided games, though.
That's
so there's
true.
going to be a built game. It'll probably be the three of us, let's say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
3 of us. We're going to put up 3 spots for our 3. We're looking for 3 rookies, 3 nobodies, and we'll tell you what to do, basically.
To an extent, but it'll
And if
also,
you like how we played, join the clan.
it'll also allow us to exactly find those people, but also explore it together. Like we were first movers in Destiny. We were amongst the first movers who really, they pushed our light level. We were ready for the raid.
Yeah.
But due to factors out of our control, I suppose, we didn't find those other 3 people to make a group of 6, a solid 6 that could play these raids. Now that we have that opportunity, once we get to the highest light level, we're going to find like-minded people. We have access to that.
Yeah.
And we can all learn it together and do that exploration together.
About the raids, though, do you guys think that they should make it less of a Rubik's Cube of specific parameters, or just make it more skill-based?
No, it's got to be. I love that problem solving. That's what makes a raid. Other than it could, because you can just do nightmare modes on.
That's
They
right.
had the nightmare mode strikes,
Right.
and that was just skill. You know, that was more hunkering down behind a rock and,
Yeah.
right, waiting for your health to recharge.
Yeah.
But and then you get to these raids where it's real problem solving, and everybody has a task to do.
Right.
No one's just sitting around just shooting shit. They just
Yeah.
gotta do their job,
Okay.
and everyone's got to be on the same level,
Wavelength.
same mind.
Right. I just think that is too much of a, because you get a bunch of guys who don't know what they're doing, and they're going to trial and error over and over again until they figure it out. But I think that just takes so long for some groups. And then on the flip side, as soon as someone does know it, he's going to be leading the charge. And I don't know, I just feel like it's fun to do real problem solving, except as soon as one guy knows what they're doing, the problem solving is gone. You're just doing the solving.
Yes,
To an
But
extent.
yeah, to an extent. Remember when we first hit that first raid? Like we finally got a group of people together.
Yeah, that was
And
good. That was
we were
good.
at the vanguard, and we were just trying to solve these problems,
Yeah.
and we were failing. We were failing at
We
it.
couldn't
And
even
there was
get in.
there was
Yeah.
a point. There was a point where we're like, shoot, I really wish I knew what I was doing.
Yeah.
Because even then, once you're being told what you need to do, there's still that skill level that's required.
Right, I guess.
Well, that's the thing. You peel out the layers of the onion. It's challenging at first, puzzles at first. Once it's understood, okay, now you still have to execute. And that was one thing that I think they did really well.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Crucible's being fine-tuned, 4v4 now.
I don't like it.
I don't know if I ever felt that 6v6 was too much.
Never.
I
I never felt, oh my God, there's so many guys here. It's just a cluster. I can't win.
But I think what happens is, because 6v6, there is a trend that you will notice. There's me, and there's you two, who are doing well. The other 3 guys, not so much. And I think in a point-based system, I think that if, like, having just 4v4, it limits the amount of points that you're getting just by feeding off sort
Off
of
the weaker players.
yeah. And so in a clan-based system, this you don't have to find 2 dead weights, basically.
I would be perfectly okay with 4v4 clan matches.
Absolutely. Well, that's what we missed out on Trials of Osiris, and I really wish that we got into that because it's exactly that. It's 3v3s,
Yeah.
and you had to win a set of crucibles to prove your way into the Trials of Osiris. Then you have to. They had a little bit of a betting system. Like you only had a few antes to get in, and if you lost, you got kicked out. It was neat.
There's definitely some game modes we missed out on.
Yeah.
And to be fair, though, that's part of the problem of Destiny 1 being a shell of a game.
Yes.
Yeah.
If those were implemented, we'd probably still be playing that game.
Yeah.
I don't feel like going and spending extra money on a couple game modes, even though those game modes make the game.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that.
Don't want to play a style of EA game where, hey, congratulations, you bought Star Wars Battlefront, but hey.
Well, actually, was this Trials game in a expansion, or is it just an add-on later on?
It was an add-on later on, but I think it's only accessible to the people with the highest light level. And to get that highest light level, you need the expansions.
Oh, okay.
That's
Yeah.
sketchy.
But to be fair, I think we bought the deluxe pack. I did.
We did. We got one expansion.
Give me 2 expansions.
Is it 2?
Yeah, you got 2 expansions.
Okay.
And then the big upgrade, the Taken King at the end there. That's the one that was separate.
Yeah.
And
And there was a whole debacle about that too, the way they were selling that. I remember like people were accidentally spending like the full $40 because they just thought they had to buy the whole game again.
Oh.
I remember that being people were pissed.
Yeah, I just hope they really execute it well. I hope there's not a continual add this. Just give us the whole
Yep.
Give us the whole everything.
But I think that's why I'm truly excited for Destiny 2, because I really think it's taking a lot of our concerns from Destiny 1 and it's bringing it all on day one.
Yeah.
And I feel like they really had, I think, what is it now? 4 years almost, maybe 3 years of time to digest what the feedback's been, how to optimize their approach. And because they were a first mover in the world of a first person shooter MMO style console. They've learned so much, and I'm really excited for them to bring it to here and kind of the polished version. I think it's going to be, I truly think that this is going to be a great game, like a 9.5 style game. It has a potential.
Here's hoping that we're not being sold a skeleton where the full game is fully released in a year.
The thing is, though, like you have to look at the intentions of why the skeleton was there. You look at EA, for example, when they release a game as a skeleton, the intention is money for add-ons, DLC. Yeah. But for Bungie, one of the examples, and one thing they were worried about with clans, and that's what they're trying to fix with this concept of guided games, so to speak, is they were worried about trolls on the internet. They wanted to limit communication within each other because they knew that there's a portion of people out there who are just rude and trolls, and they didn't want to ruin the gaming experience. And that's why they had such a limited social atmosphere in the original Destiny.
And with clans, with an in-game clan system where you can just continually just find another clan, you're not always going to be with terrible people. And to assume that everybody is a troll is also a terrible way of planning your game too.
And I think they regretted that decision after they released Destiny, and so many people had these concerns.
I don't know if you guys know, but I just remember the Destiny 1 trailers. Did the guy with the revolver, did he ever get resolved? Like that character? He was the son of he looked like a major character in the trailer, but he never showed up in the actual game, and I was trying to figure out.
Destiny 1?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like it was that was like there's problems like that too.
We can go back and play, get our light level up. Actually, let's do that tonight.
I actually really want to now. Yeah. I would love to get back into Destiny after talking about this.
Okay.
Okay, great. But to that point, that's the funny thing. So me personally, Ash, as a gamer, I'm a very multiplayer-centric, competitive video gamer. I've never been one for storylines.
He loves that esports.
I love that esports. Overwatch League. I love the competition. I never cared for these one-player games with the storyline. Never engrossed me.
Right.
But I remember when Destiny was coming out, I was actually excited for the story for once. It was the first time I felt this way because it felt like the perfect mashup of a little bit of competition. I get to group up into a little fire team and play this fantastic co-op gaming experience.
Yeah. Where all of our skills are being tested.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was looking forward to that. And for me to be looking forward to a story is rare. I looked forward to it, and I was thoroughly disappointed with the lack of story in Destiny 1. So you ask about the man with the gun. I know so little about the story because I was so not engrossed.
Yeah.
And that was a failure on Bungie's part.
Yeah.
And so I don't even know the names.
And
Well, we can go explore that endgame content.
yeah.
I'd like to.
Let's do it now.
But I'm going into Destiny 2 with very tepid expectations because I'm looking at the marketing and it does feel very reminiscent of the Destiny 1. They show you the tutorial level. That was the best level part of Destiny 1. They show me that. It's all the cutscenes. If it just turns into another, like, talk to this guy and do his quest line.
Yeah, if they put all the technological trademarks into the first opening scenario just to sell the game, and do not follow up on that look for the rest of the game, like all the other story modes, all the strikes don't look as good as that first, crawling through this dungeon and crawling through the sewers and you get the lighting. And if you take that all away, like, and just here's your typical shooter graphics.
Yeah.
Just get through the levels. We threw the rest of it together. That'll be sad.
Yeah.
It would be. I'd be quite shocked because they had their trial with Destiny 1. And like we were talking, I really feel this is Destiny 1.5 in so many ways. And it's really, hey, give us another chance to release this game. But this time we know what we're doing.
Yeah.
So that'll be good.
Yeah.
So on the other hand, I was on IGN the other day and I was watching a video and one of their editors was talking about Bethesda and their game review policy.
Yeah.
Now, for those who don't know, back in October of last year, Bethesda decided to no longer provide pre-release copies to game critics. So they don't give the reviewers, a week, 2 weeks heads up to play their games.
Yeah.
And generally what they would have done is they set an embargo date. They say on this exact day, all of you can release your reviews. Now they've stopped doing that. And now they're saying for all critics, you just buy the game like everyone else, or we'll give you a free game.
No, I think
on release.
I think they give them the game the day before.
Yeah.
And now they all have to rush to get the reviews out first.
With no embargo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that's fair. And there's a few layers of concerns to this, but to begin, they've stopped creating the embargo dates. And so then the question is, why would they do this?
This is a really hard subject.
I like it. I am with Bethesda on this.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you this. Play the role of Bethesda, because in my mind, generally when you release a game and you don't provide early copies and you don't provide an embargo date, you're effectively saying, my game is bad and I don't want bad media to come out about it before its release. I want people to have to buy it without that bad media. We all know Bethesda makes great games.
Yes.
So why are you pro no embargo?
I think for the most part, it hurts the reviewers' side of things because they need to get the content out. They need to get the clicks and all that to get the articles, and then we got to get paid and all that. But I think it also does ruin the experience to an extent for the first-time buyers.
Yes.
Because they get spoiled on a lot of content that they're not going to... And a lot of these games are long open world. Like, that's Bethesda's thing. They're big open world.
Yeah. I agree. I think that Bethesda has a lot of pull, and they're trying to change the way games are reviewed.
Yeah.
And how people experience their games. And I don't like being told that I'm not going to like a game 3 weeks before it even comes out. Yeah. I don't like it. I don't like how critics do it for movies. I don't like how game reviewers do it for games. I want to experience the game the same time as every other reviewer out there. Mm-hmm. And if there's the people who want to listen to their reviews before they buy it, that's fine.
Yeah.
You'll get the slow reviews at the first start, or the slow sales. Sorry, they'll get slow sales at the first, and then as reviews come out, they'll pick up.
Yeah.
So to that point, there was a neat little article I was reading, and there was some statistics. So on average, when a game is released, the second week sales drop off to by about 65, 75% or so. Now, looking at the track record, okay, so the idea being no more embargo. Reviews aren't out before the game is released. So people have to go out and buy the game.
Yeah.
And then on the second week, maybe some reviews are out.
Yeah.
And so how does that impact people buying games? And in the beginning, it actually worked out really well. So Doom
had a 30% increase on the second week. Or decrease.
But substantially better than the average of 65%. So Doom was their first foray into this, and it proved successful.
Yeah. I think it has something to do with peer review over critic review. So there, it's word of mouth. Hey, I just played this game. It's great. Tells two friends. They go out and buy it the next week.
Yeah.
As opposed to listening to their one reviewer who says it sucks. And then their friend says, hey, I really like this game. You should try it. He says, no, this reviewer I read 3 weeks ago said it sucks. I'm not going to buy it.
But there's something to be said about knowing the reviewer. I mean, I know a lot of game reviewers. Well, historically, I did when I was a bit younger. And I was following these Greg Millers and Colin Moriarty's when they're putting out these reviews back in their younger days. And I trusted those reviews because I knew the type of games they liked. Yeah. And I knew I was synonymous with that. And so I was okay with that. I could listen to Colin's opinion and say, you know what? I play the same style of games he does, so I can respect that opinion.
And here's where the game industry and what Bethesda is trying to, well, what I feel is going to happen and what should already be happening in the future. IGN is not the future of game reviews. All these big companies, they're not the future of game reviews. What you're going to do is you're going to find all these D, C, B-rated YouTube reviewers. You're going to find the guy who clicks with you the most.
Yeah.
And because now that big companies aren't getting the
early access, they're now on the same playing field as the smaller reviewers. Meaning you're going to go out, you're going to find that reviewer you like, and who's never steered you wrong, and he's going to have the same. He's going to be on the same level playing field as the big guys, and people are going to flock to him. The people who he clicks with, they're going to flock to him, and he's going to lead more accurate reviews for more people. So that's a hot topic for me, though, the accurate reviews part. So on one hand, it's almost like playing the mom and shop game, right? There's a world out there who dislikes Walmart because they're pushing out all these smaller time companies. Mm-hmm. This is a way for the smaller time individuals to get the same type of access as these big conglomerates do. And so you get a variety of opinions that are voiced all at the same time. So it's certainly great for the little guy, if you will. However, due to the nature of internet society and the way that these internet companies and these YouTubers can earn money, it's all on clicks, on advertisements. And unfortunately, usually the first people to release get the most clicks.
Yeah.
And inherently, due to the capitalist nature that we live in, there's effectively a race to the bottom. Who can get their review out the quickest? And I'm worried that leads to worse and worse quality reviews because of that.
Because they're all rushed.
Incentive.
But you will, after time, you're gonna check this out, and you're gonna be like, well, this guy's just rushing through. He's not getting it, and you are going to start finding other guys who you just trust a bit more. It is gonna still spread in that sense. Mm-hmm. The quality.
Yeah, if you've got 3 weeks of clicking, it's going to be a lot different than maybe a few days of clicking.
Yeah. If 5 days later, you find like a guy comes up with a review with a score that's like, oh, that's interesting, and you hear him talk about it, and it's like, oh, he's really put in the time. He's really...
Yeah, and it won't...
And then I'm going to wait for this guy's review, and then whatever's recommended from that. Yeah. So...
Okay, but you've now waited
so
a year.
It won't be right away.
Yeah.
It's not going to be, okay, well, I just released it the day before for reviewers. And so immediately game reviews have changed. It's going to take a while to do this, and everybody has to jump on board. And I think everyone should jump on board.
See, that's where I disagree.
Okay, go for it.
And I don't know if people should jump on board because there's, on one hand, you make a good point. Over a few days, other reviewers would come out, and I can wait for those reviewers and know that they have more meaningful content. But unfortunately, the mass populace has shown over the last decade that they actually don't even care too much about the reviewers. They care about the number.
But that's the other thing about IGN, because really the only numbers you get, you guarantee it, you're going to see 7 to 9 and some weird decimal point in between.
Yeah.
It's either 7.1 to 7.
And then you're gonna get the like customer reviews that second number.
Yeah.
That is usually
What is that, like a 5 out of 10? IGN gave it like an 8.8.
Right. But I guess
who's right?
Yeah.
The
customers or IGN.
Yeah.
The one guy who did it on IGN who's got the biggest number.
Right. But then there's Metacritic for that. It takes the amalgamation of all review sites, including the B, C, and D reviewers, and puts it all into one big number. And to be fair though, it does prorate it, just for the record. So people like IGN do get a bigger slice or impact. Oh, he's falling down just like Alien Covenant, the movie, did.
That's all right.
And so
Take it up.
I guess history has shown that people don't actually look at the meta reviews and they just look for the number. And I fear that with this race to the bottom, it's only going to embellish that problem. It's going to exacerbate that problem. And we're not ever going to get to the era where we have proper, healthy, words. I mean, there's an argument to be made. Maybe numbers should just be removed.
I think they should.
Game reviews.
Honestly, hearing about the experience of the game, you can't really put enough. A movie, I find, is a lot easier to rate, and I think that should be like that industry should stay the same. But a game industry, there's so much going on, and every genre game is so different from each other. I think it's really hard to put a number that adequately describes.
Yeah, and like what are you rating? Are you rating the single player? Are you rating the multiplayer? Are you rating?
Well, there was a problem that just recently happened, and this is again.
Are you rating the bug that just ruined your game?
Right. Well, did you hear about this?
Yes.
At IGN, Dan Stapleton reviewed. It was Prey that just released for Bethesda.
Yeah.
Again, he had the concern of the race to the bottom, whether it was himself or his employer pushing him, who really knows. But he felt as though he had to get the review out quick.
Right.
He got the review out, but he had a game-saving bug that crashed his game, and he had to restart. And even though he enjoyed the game on so many levels, he felt as though he was kind of forced. He said, okay, in my mind, the game is great. However, I experienced this bug. I don't know how prevalent this bug is, because if I had received it 2 weeks ago, I could talk to other game critics. I could talk to other people. I could even reach out to Bethesda and see, hey, do you know about this bug? And will there be a day one patch to fix it? All of those things could have mitigated this issue. However, because he felt as though he had a race to the bottom, he had to get out the review. He felt it was unfair to put a high number. He didn't have enough time to determine not to give a low number. So he made his best decision, and he gave the game a 4 out of 10. Mm-hmm. And there was this huge backlash. What are you talking about? Then Bethesda inevitably released the patch, and they fixed the bug.
Yeah.
And he actually went back and changed his review score to be an 8 out of 10.
Here we go. So now maybe it's going to affect what quality these games go out at. Maybe there will be a bigger push to have more sound games, because they're not going to be a bunch of review tested
I'm trying
gameplay.
To wonder, because back in the day when games couldn't be patched and all that, it just felt like they were always more complete. I don't remember these huge.
Yeah.
Was the reviewing system the same way it has been up until like now?
More or less.
Yeah.
Yeah. What? The review system with the embargoes and things like that. That's pretty old school.
I guess the internet at the same time wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, and when we say old school, we're talking 2000s, right?
Yeah. Also like Xbox, because I'm thinking, man, the Nintendo age, like
I mean, in the 1990s, I guess 1997.
You just had that magazine, and that was it.
Yeah, you get the Nintendo Power, and then it's like,
Kotaku.
I got to get all these.
Now,
I miss magazines.
And so we had the review score switch to an 8 out of 10. And one of the problems, you're right, maybe this will help game developers bring out a more complete game.
It won't help, but maybe it'll push.
It might push.
A little bit push.
Because we've had a history of these game breaking bugs just being part of a release. So the game goes gold, they put it into discs and they ship it out, and it's actually a broken game. And if you don't have access to the internet when you put in this game, there's a good chance you might actually not be able to play it. It happened with Mafia 3 off the top of my head, and I know it's happened to countless others. They're just not on my mind at the moment.
The also 3 weeks still isn't enough to tell you if the game is a skeleton of a game.
Right.
Like if it's this Destiny thing. Destiny was given huge scores, I believe.
Yeah, it was.
And it was just a skeleton release.
And then the comments came out. And it's like, well, why is it so rated so high? I was like, well, it seemed good.
So it's not really helping anybody.
I disagree. I think that Destiny was still a great game. It got the reviews it got because of the perspective of it's a great step into this MMO FPS world.
But nobody was rating it on its content.
Yeah.
Maybe
So
not
much.
enough.
I use content liberally, but
Yeah.
Well, then there comes the discussion of how important are features versus the actual gameplay in a review.
features are one of the things of the games. Those are all game mechanics. So the way you want that trial of whatever you call it, Osiris. You want all those cool features, the Iron Forge and everything.
Yeah.
That's what you're playing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to play the same level over and over and over again on the same planet over and over just to get the one drop from the whole map. I get one drop. What is that all about?
Right. Oh, and as a side note, no more going into orbit. We forgot to mention that.
No, we mentioned it.
Did we?
Yeah, we did. On another note on this, though, do you think that because the people are buying it on more of a delayed status, that it actually helps the longevity of the games? Because it seems like in today's age, especially, when you get like for these massive multiplayer games, you get 1 day up until about 2 weeks, and that's it, and then everybody just drops off. Do you think
the make or break weeks?
Yeah. Do you think just from word of mouth, it's like, okay, this game is actually going to live on if
you have so much content that the first week, the people who are giving you the peer reviews, the people who are giving you word of mouth reviews, if they're done with it in 2 weeks because there's no content, no features, they're not going to buy it because you've stopped playing it, and you're not going to.
But that's the same thing, anyways, right?
Well, if I bought that same game a year after all those features were, I'd look at all these things I can do.
Mm-hmm.
But I've already moved on now.
Yeah, and that's also a concern with reviews is they get dated very quickly.
Yeah.
And honestly, I want to see this. I do think it gives powers to the little man, and I want to see it in movie reviews. I don't want the 3-week critic review, before the game even before the movie shows up.
But again, like I just feel it gives the reviewers time to properly digest the media and give a detailed response without feeling pushed. Because unfortunately, a lot of critics do it for some form of money, and that's the reality of our society. So they're incentivized to just rush it out, and that will inevitably give us lower quality content.
Lower.
No, I don't
Yeah,
think
maybe.
so.
I'm sort of on the fence, to be honest.
From the guys who are really pushing it for money, from the big guys. The big guys will give you poor content just to get your clicks.
Capitalism,
but we will learn eventually.
I just feel like throughout history, capitalism has been proven to be the go-to for society, and I don't see why it'll be any different. There's a rosy world where there's the people who don't care and still give proper content. I just don't trust society so much, I guess, personally.
That's fair. I'm just going to go to the small time guys. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go to the guys I trust, and there will be the clicks on the big guys always. But the guys I like, I'll be clicking on them.
That's fair. So, anything else happened in this last week or so?
Destiny just no.
Star Trek.
Star Trek
Okay.
Discovery finally came out with a good trailer preview.
Yeah.
And Star Trek Discovery is the new TV show.
It's a new TV show.
Yep. It's been in the makings for a long time.
And, geez, so long. One guy, who was the guy who aborted and just went somewhere else?
I forget his name, actually.
He went to play Gods Among Men?
Yeah, Gods Among Men.
No, that looks like good TV, so I need to start watching that. That looks really good.
Yeah.
But
Is that the Amazon Prime Video one?
yeah, I think so. Okay. Amazon, yeah, I always see Amazon, and I'm going to try that. That looks pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
But this one, it's 10 years before
Yeah.
Star
Enterprise.
Trek, the original. I don't know how many years after Star Trek Enterprise.
Here it is. So Star Trek Enterprise ends. The very last episode ends 2169. The start of the original series 2254. So this look, and I got a few problems already. So you get the first line of the trailer 10 years before the original series, and yet it looks like it should take place 10 years after Enterprise.
Okay,
Because visually style, from what I hear, the original series ship is in fact already it's already voyaging, like those style ships, and this looks nothing like it.
I'm okay with, every ship looks different.
Yeah.
And I like the visual style of it. It looks good. I really wish it was 10 years after Voyager, and they could still throw that exact same looking ship in there.
Yeah.
It would still feel right at home.
I'm not a fan of the look of, like, Enterprise is usually regarded as the weakest of the Star Trek series. And I think one of the problems I personally had is because at the time it was kind of the same thing. It's got a modern look. It's got kind of like more drama. It's more action. And I think this is going into the style of that. But what I love about Star Trek is it's just the orderliness of it. That it's people at work doing their jobs.
Yeah.
And when I look at the bridge of this show, it's so cold. It's so mechanical.
Yeah.
And these ships on a daily basis from episode to episode, they go through so much heck. And yet at the end of the day, when everybody settles back in, it's a place of comfort when it's back online, operational. It
doesn't look like it's it's a
but
submarine.
when I look at this and you see like the whole ship coming apart, and then at the end everything's back to normal, it's like, did we fix everything? Is everything back to right? Yeah. Is that supposed to be there? Like,
could it be an effect of just modern day CGI? Because
but I don't think Star Trek should. I don't feel like that's a series that should be.
Yeah, Star Trek has never been about modern.
Yeah.
It's always been about the future. It's always like you want a futuristic look. You want, the Federation is a paradise. Mm-hmm. And the place you work in is a paradise in space, basically. That's always been one of its themes. So when you take that away and you just put yourself in a modern battleship style bridge with all these cold colors and flashing lights, and
It's just it just
big old
feels like the
mechanical
cast
switches.
is miserable. Like,
yeah, you don't feel comfortable in it.
But
But
I
here's
guess-
the thing: they're looking for drama.
Yeah.
This is another huge thing. You can tell right away that they've turned this into a drama style ongoing series where each episode folds into the next one.
yeah.
And no other Star Trek has done that except for Enterprise. And look what happened to Enterprise.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
You need those standalone episodes you want to
Or
develop. You want to develop the crew. You want to give everyone their storylines and little character development without throwing yourself in just watching this plot unfold.
Yeah.
I think that's what Star Trek did so well at its best is you have these mini arcs that are just a few episodes long, and each episode within it could still kind of be meaty enough for just a topic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, every episode has done that, or every series has done that, and they get hundreds of episodes out of it. This one, it's just aiming at its first season's 12 episodes long.
They've bought up to 15 now.
I was like, that's what you've planned on.
Yeah.
You've planned on a short run. in a
Well,
age-
10 years before that is what you're planning, because every series is at least 80 years apart. That gives you room. These series span 30 years.
yeah.
When you go 10 years, and I don't know who that's for. Why isn't this its own thing? Like, because the guys from the original series comes in, they're gonna be pointing out all these continuity errors, which these guys, the Trekkers, they care about their continuity.
Yeah.
And the guys who you get from the marketing of this, the new guys, the new generation they're going after, they're going to go into the original series and they go, oh, well, wait a minute. And then they're all going to be confused. And everybody's unhappy at the end of the
There's
day.
already fans are working to figure out what incident this is. So it's been leaked by the director or whoever that this is an incident that has been said in one of the Star Trek series that has never really been touched on. So they're just going to do this series on it.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
So you already have fans speculating. It's like, well, it's got to be one of these few things.
Yeah.
Here.
I guess one thing is, though, what's to limit them? Why do they have to stick within the 10 years? Yes, granted, they're 10 years before, but technically they could have a parallel storyline that we begin in 10 years. And hypothetically, if we want to go 30 years out, they're parallel in the same world as Kirk and Spock.
Yeah, they can do that.
They can.
And I'm okay with that.
Voyager is paralleled next to Next Generations, I believe. They're about the
it-
same time frame.
They go way past it, though.
No, actually.
I don't know.
With the movies,
Yeah.
Next Gen, it does go longer.
Next Gen goes on? Oh, yeah, with the movies. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
But I don't know. I just feel like it's not going its own path. It's not following Star Trek. When I look at the trailer, I see a lot of Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah.
I see Children of Dune. I see Star Wars. I see these.
It's like a mini series.
It's copying the cool elements of a lot of things
I see
without
Interstellar.
taking. Yeah, and I don't know.
The new age CGI, I think, really alters the experience, and we'll have to see how that plays. But overall, I think at a first glance, you guys are being a little bit too negative.
I am, but I always hated the ongoing drama plots.
I just want a nice serialized, hey, we're going to go solve some problems around the galaxy is huge. Let's solve some problems planet to planet.
And that is
Let's do a good job. Let's be good
That's the
characters.
Star Trek formula.
Yeah.
And every Star Trek fan wants to see that Star Trek formula.
They don't want to see it become Star Wars.
That's why Star Trek Enterprise failed, I think.
But I feel as though you're reading into 2 minutes of a trailer and making these assumptions.
We're also going by what they say,
yeah.
what's been said.
That's fair.
It looks like it's focusing on the number one, the drama life of number one. I don't know who the character's name is, but it's played by Sonequa Green Martin, and she's the Sasha Williams from The Walking Dead.
Great.
And I think that's good. I was seeing some hype on the internet about finally some women of color on the
Yeah.
bridge with some work to do, and so I had to go check to see what she was, and she's not the captain,
No.
which I was a little disappointed in. It's like, oh, geez, you just made her the number one, eh? But I guess you had to separate her so that she could do her drama while the captain does the captain work, I guess.
Yeah. They have they actually because the other lady, she's not the captain, right? Or is she? Because they did
Danielle?
announce before that a guy was going to be the captain, but he didn't show up in the trailer at all.
Yeah, I was looking at the credits and I saw the same thing.
Yeah.
So in the trailer, there's that Yao woman, and then in the credits, there's like an IMDb. There's this guy listed as a captain,
Yeah.
and I was like, well, where does he play in?
Yeah.
Interesting. Well,
So-
in the intro of that trailer, doesn't that woman say to the Sonequa? Sorry, what was her name?
Sonequa.
Yeah.
I don't know her character name.
Right. No, but that's the actress's name.
Yeah.
So she looks at that character and says, "You should have your own fleet." Right? Did I miss?
Own
hear that?
command, but
Own
command
command.
can also be you're in a command position, but you're not a captain.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So, overall, relatively still looking forward to watching it.
I'll watch it.
Yeah, I do want to
gotta
watch
judge
it. I just wish it stuck a little bit more because that flavor that they're delivering, I just get everywhere else, and I haven't had the Star Trek flavor in forever. The first J.J. Abrams movie was really good for it. They brought it back, and then this, I like the second one, and the third one's
Third one's different, yeah.
And I just feel like maybe this series should be in that universe, that timeline. This feels more that style to begin with. I don't think this should be connected to the primary.
Yeah, I can see how visually they kind of connect.
Yeah.
If you had this terrible incident and everybody's like gearing up for it.
Yeah. But I don't know how that...
Fair enough.
Well,
I'm looking forward to watching it.
Also, it's just on... You have to subscribe to a certain channel, right? Like, this is a very specific release, isn't it?
Is it very kind of HBO, Netflix style?
Yeah, something like that.
What channel is doing
It's
it?
the flagship title of a new...
Okay.
And they're really going for a different audience. That's the thing.
Yeah.
They're going for a different audience for people who's like, oh, Star Trek. But I guess the same people who are into Battlestar Galactica are probably going to be into this.
Yeah.
I was way into the old Battlestar Galactica where you just had the self-contained, you had fucking Starbuck doing his thing.
Yeah.
And now you got Starbuck as a robot chick.
Which I liked. I did like the new modern, but I liked it because it was like it was still
it was
Battlestar
modern.
Galactica. It wasn't Star Trek I was watching.
Right.
So
Yeah, okay.
So anything else happened this week? I think that...
I'm excited for the God Particle movie coming out sometime this year. It's going to be the next Cloverfield 3.
is J.J. Abrams directing that, or is that a different director?
Yeah, I think
J.J. Abrams is everywhere right now.
He's doing his best.
It looks like he's trying to make the Cloverfield series kind of like the Twilight series.
Yeah.
So every movie's going to be different, but it still has that Cloverfield feel.
Yeah.
Twilight was like that?
Plus something called a God Particle.
Twilight.
You just said like the Twilight series.
Did I say Twilight?
You
no,
did say...
no, but he meant Twilight Zone.
Twilight Zone.
Okay.
Sorry.
I got
So
it.
that's a differentiation.
You should just say Outer Limits for the 90s guys. Yeah, no, but I'm looking forward to it. It's from what I hear, I don't know if this is even spoilers, but it is about astronauts in space coming back to Earth, right? From the moon?
Back, they're in orbit and the Earth just disappears or
Right.
something like that.
And that just sounds of it. That's a great premise.
That would be
And that's
terrifying.
all I need to know.
I'm a huge fan of sci-fi horror. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
It just sounds like Gravity, the TV show to me.
Get out of here. Did you like Gravity?
I enjoyed the cinematography,
Okay.
but I don't think I particularly loved the movie. I can appreciate the art direction and the music. It's
Right.
good.
I didn't like Gravity.
You didn't?
I like George Clooney.
I love George Clooney.
All right. I think that wraps it up for today. Once again, Adam, Matt, and Ash, 3 hours early. Stay tuned for more episodes.
Yeah. Please check us out on YouTube and patreon.com/3 hours early. And also send us some questions if you have. general@3hoursEarly.com is the email address. My Twitter handle is A_Nia3HE.
Mine's Adam_3HE.
Mine's Matt3HE. And, send us some tweets. Tell us we suck.
Yeah, let us know how we're doing.
Yeah, that's the big thing. I'd really love to see everyone else's perspective on what we should change and if we're in the right direction. Well, thanks very much. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Okay.